Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show. Here we are rocking and rolling and ready to talk some Buccaneers. We're going to talk some Lightning. We're going to talk a ton of college football. We've got crazy-ass Jim Harbaugh out there. We got sound from him. We'll hear from Todd Bowles. I'll make some statements that maybe a lot of you will not agree with, which I pretty much do on a daily basis, but we're ready to have some fun. We thank you guys for jumping in here. However you're doing it, on Apple, on Spotify, on podcast, on live, we appreciate you jumping in here on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. So I'll say good morning to you, IndyCar Tim, in our Dallas affiliate. What's happening there?
Good morning, boys and girls. Good morning, JP. Good morning, Tampa. It is a brisk, 57 degrees and sunny outside this morning here in the DFW.
Nice.
Here in the 214, I guess is what they say down here on the hilltop at SMU, calling it the 214.
And you're Mr. Texas A&M, and you cover them for SI. And so I'm wondering, like, what the hell is going on at Texas A&M? And why has that suddenly become the best job in America, that Dan Lanning is going to leave Oregon, Mike Norvell is going to leave Florida State, Jimbo Fisher is going to Cabo with $75 million in his back pocket. Man, it is. They have to come up with a new rule that if you get more than $20 million on a parachute, the rest of that goes to a players fund to fund their health insurance post college. Something. It's despicable. That's just grotesque. You can be so bad at your job and walk away with $75 million. And that's not Jimbo's fault, by the way.
Nope.
That's not his fault.
Signed the deal.
He just signed the deal. And
I'm sure you guys talked yesterday a little bit about how far out of skew it is from the previous largest ever buyout, right? Like, did y'all cover this yesterday? What the one before was?
What's is it Willie Taggart's $27 million?
No,
is that close?
That wasn't that. I don't know what that was, but the previous on record for a buyout to kiss a coach goodbye was Auburn when they said goodbye to Gus Malzahn at $21.5 million.
Oh no, that's peanuts compared to Willie. Willie got $27 million.
I haven't read anything on that.
It's kind of weird because does the last year of the contract count? I mean the first year of the contract, like the year you get fired, if you're fired mid-season, like Willie, like I'm pretty sure Willie's deal was, I think he got more than that. Like he coached for a year and a half and got $27 million of his $30 million. So whatever. It's disgusting, and it's the administrator's fault, by the way. I once asked somebody very much in the know about this, just so people know about these buyouts. And the way this works is the athletic directors basically just go to the board of regents, and those are the financial people basically who are supposed to be, have the fiduciary responsibility of signing off on these things. And I said, do you guys do any vetting of these contracts or anything? And he's like, no, basically whatever the athletic director says we got to do to get a coach, we just basically sign off on it. He goes, we understand that the deals are ridiculous. And from a fiduciary standpoint, we would never, like if it was a professor or somebody, we would never agree to something like this. He goes, but that's just kind of the way things are done when it comes to football, is the athletic director just kind of decides what you need and you kind of, stay out of their way.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's a hell of a way to handle because a lot of time that's booster money anyway, right?
Sure.
That coaches are paid not out of the general fund of the university. People, I don't think they understand that.
Right.
They're paid out of, basically booster funds and the fundraising arm of the team. So, because nobody ever wants it on the books that, Nick Saban makes 100 times more than the actual governor of Alabama. Or any other public official. They just
had a better year.
Yeah, they always do. Well, not Jimbo Fisher.
No,
not Jimbo Fisher. But I think if you're Oregon fan or an FSU fan, or maybe if you're a Florida fan, you'd want them to take your coach. But if you're a Florida State fan, I would not worry about Mike Norvell going to Texas A&M. I don't think you need to worry about it. Anything can happen. But I don't think you need to worry about that. And I just, like, to me, I'm like, how arrogant is, I don't know who these people are. They're saying, Dan Lanning and Mike Norvell are leaving where they are to go to Texas A&M. I mean, I love your, A&M. You got a nice field there, but College Station doesn't sound like the destination for me that I want to live. I don't know.
I don't know. I've been there, and it's trust me. Other than some barbecue and a couple of bars and some underage college girls, it's not all it's cracked up to be. But here's the deal, man. A couple of things on the Aggies thing. So first of all, as far as the speculation about who's coming in, don't they have to have already known who their next coach is for them to pull the trigger? So the timing of it to me is weird. Okay, you didn't do it after the loss to Ole Miss. You did it after a 51-10 blowout. By the way, is this the only college game, Mississippi State and A&M, where the following day and 2 days later, both coaches are fired?
Yeah, that's weird. But
to me, A&M has to have already known who they're hiring. Yeah. They had something in place, because then now you're calling, 10 boosters. Hey, can we get $10 million from you to buy out Jimbo's contract? So a small group of people had to know about it.
Right.
So somehow they kept all this under wraps. So they have to know who it is. And as far as why A&M, why people think it's attractive, I mean, it's the SEC. It is A&M. It's still the SEC. Oregon's in a going away Pac-12. Think what you want about the ACC. I think it's right there with the SEC, on the top end as far as the good schools go. But, it's still an SEC school. They have literally all of the money. The most money in all of college football is at Texas A&M. And it's money-wise, it's an attractive job. And you're under zero pressure to come in and win, because look who you're replacing. That's not like you're replacing Fisher at Florida State.
Right.
You're replacing him at A&M, where he went 45-25. And he's supposed to bring a national title.
Would they have a plaque there, like insert the year for the national championship? Oh.
1939.
You still have that plaque.
1919 and 1939, JP. Those are our national championships. All right.
He can have that as a parting gift. Still blank, by the way.
Ouch.
And will be for the rest of his career.
Probably
no, they have. I would agree with you. They have to, and I'd say Elko is probably the guy. He was the defensive coordinator there. Yep. He's done a hell of a job at Duke. So yeah, and you, we were talking before, and you said, "Well, is he a big enough name?" I'm like, you know what? Maybe A&M is realized that it's not the name; it's the actual coach that you need to hire. Because any vetting of Jimbo Fisher would have shown what little character that man has, and he was not going to be able to get the job done. Yeah. So, well, it's their money, but I just think it's kind of indicative of where college football is right now. And we're going to get into the Jim Harbaugh stuff, which I think that interview yesterday was bizarre, like bizarre world. And, people talk about him, Colin Cowherd's out there going, oh, yeah, Tampa and J.J. McCarthy. Yeah, he goes, yeah, Jim Harbaugh to Tampa. That makes all the sense in the world. Then, they'll have a top 5 pick. So they'll get J.J. McCarthy. I'm like, this dude's a national radio guy. Like, what world do you live in?
He's a clown, man. He's such a clown.
Such a sellout.
I mean, anyway, I dig him sometimes for entertainment value, because he's entertaining to watch.
He used to be.
Well, I haven't watched the show since Joy Taylor left. That's the only reason I ever watched the show.
It's a complete sellout. It's just anyway. But this college football is becoming extremely interesting on a lot of different levels. So much more than the NFL, in my opinion. Boy, I'm watching games on Sunday, and I'm just like, this product is terrible. It's like the Bucs game was just awful. This is awful to watch. The Frankfurt game, the 10-6 game, just awful. Last night's game was, at least there was an atmosphere in Buffalo. I mean, you get charged up because that place is bananas. But the actual game, I mean, Josh Allen looks like a freaking JV quarterback half the time. And is it just me, or is the product just bad right now?
Dude, he's Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Josh Allen has become maybe a worse Dak Prescott. I think his turnovers are worse now.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get to the Bucs, and Bucs Basement has actually jumped in here and stolen my thunder as far as my monologue today, because I watched the Todd Bowles press conference yesterday, and just taking in all the media here in Tampa Bay, and it feels like when you win a game, I always try to look past the actual score of the game, to go into the film, dig into it, kind of feel what really happened, because many times the score of the game is not indicative of what actually happened in the game. and that the narrative should never be about that game. It should be about, the 9 games that you've just witnessed. The entire narrative should not be focused on what happened yesterday, because, in the NFL, it always feels like that, what have you done for me lately? It is a week-to-week league, and it's a week-to-week league in terms of these overall narratives. You want to talk about 40,000-foot narratives, the macro, but you're only looking at the score of the last game. You're not even looking at what happened in the game. And I see that all the time, and I'm just kind of mystified by that. And I put together, I look at this last week and I say, well, yeah, okay, so they came. By the way, the Titans right now are a bad football team. They're a bad football team. Their quarterback situation, Will Levis may one day be a good player, but he is not yet. He's no CJ Stroud, my friend, not even close. And, D-Hop is a great weapon, but, the Bucs neutralized him, and good on them. They played good deep, but the offensive line is atrocious. They're a team that's based on running the football with Derrick Henry. And if your offensive line is so bad and so beat up right now, and they lose their left tackle, which in game, you got to switch 2 people. I mean, that offensive line was a disaster, and credit the Bucs for finally taking advantage of it. But then I look at the overall narrative and I'm saying, why did it take so long for Todd Bowles, who was a defensive genius? Why would it take him so long to play to his strengths and not try and just hide his weaknesses by playing soft zone and rushing 4, knowing damn well that he could get 0 pressure on the quarterback? Why did it take him so long, 9 games in, to finally realize how he should be playing? And I'm like, this is bizarre. And not only that, it took a players' meeting with the coaching staff for the players to come out and say, hello, McFly. Oh, Tally's like, so who's at the door? Nobody's at the door. What a rookie mistake that was. No, shut up. So that's kind of funny. It's like, hello, like, this is who you are. You have press man corners. You have a linebacker who has no idea how to play in coverage or play the run. So you finally figured out, just tell him to go run after the quarterback. Okay, great idea. If you're going to keep him on the field, that's what he should be doing. Run after the quarterback. Go get ball. I mean, and it's just like, this is all obvious stuff. Mm-hmm. And I sit here at 4. Now the Bucs are at 4-5, same place they were last year when they won the division. They're scoring more points marginally and better on defense marginally. But it's pretty much the same team as last year. The division still is awful, and they're headed probably towards 8-9 or 9-8 and winning this division. And I'm like, is that really where you want to be? Because I'm here to tell you, if the players have to tell the coach how to coach, that's probably not a good thing. That's probably not a good thing. And as much as I love Todd Bowles, as you know, personally, I mean, I look back and I said, how the hell did we lose the Atlanta game at home? How the hell do you lose that Houston game? I mean, you're 4-5. You clearly should have 6 wins, and you should be in charge of this division and people talking about you as a bona fide playoff team. But where you are with this coaching staff, that takes months to do things that should have been done overnight after the first couple of tapes. Oh, I'm 3-1. No, look at what you're doing. Don't just look at the results. Look at what you're doing and how you're doing it. And look at where your team is. And I'm sitting here and there, and everybody's like, oh, okay, we're 4-5 now. We'll probably lose to San Francisco this week, but then there's a couple winnable games against Panthers. Oh, so we could be at 6-6 and we can win. Oh, we're going to go to the playoffs. We're going to win the division. I'm like, who effing cares, man? Who cares? So then Todd Bowles keeps his job. And do we bring back Baker Mayfield? And you got a whole lot of mediocre. You got a whole lot of mediocre. Is that what we want to do? We want to be mediocre? And I like Baker Mayfield, and I like where he's at, and I like what he's done so far, especially with a neophyte offensive coordinator, and an offensive line that was substandard early on because of bad personnel decisions. Again, with Matt Filer, you put somebody in there, and finally you get a running game going, and it's to me. Once again, this team, the roster on this team is so much better than how they've been coached. In the games that this team should have at least 6 wins, at the very least 6 wins, and could be better. And I don't. And what confidence should you have as a Bucs fan that these coaches are going to make the right decisions for the rest of the games? that you got coming up? Who's to say he's not going to go back to playing this, outsmart himself once again and go, ooh, they're going to expect us to play press man. So let's go back into that soft zone, which we're horrible at. Mm-hmm. It's not so much of them even knowing or expecting what you're doing. Execute what you do best. Tony Dungy used to say this all the time. If you execute what you do and you're good at what you do, it doesn't matter if they know it's coming. You're just better than them. You have better athletes at these positions. You use the ones that are better. Did it take this long to see that Yaya Diaby is better than Joe Tryon-Shoyinka? Really? It took you 9 games to figure that out? And the guy finally gets some run and he's making plays all over. It took you 9 games to figure out that Devin White can't do anything but rush the passer? It's mind-numbing almost. So what makes you feel like this coaching staff is going to make the good decisions the rest of the way? I don't have any confidence in that whatsoever. They still have to make in-game adjustments the rest of the way. They going to make the right ones? Chances are no. Is he still going to manage games the way he's managed games? Probably, which is not very well. Even this last game, you're punting at the 41-yard line, at the other team's 41-yard line on a 4th and 5. That's awful. I mean, it's so many, but we won the game, JP. Why aren't you happy? Why aren't you? I said, because I want more. I don't want mediocre. I don't want 4 and 5. If that's what you're into, good for you. It's not what I'm interested in.
No, and that mediocrity carries over for a long time if you don't do something about it. All right. Again, I hate to keep bringing up the Cowboys, but that's where I live and that's who I root for. And look at the mediocrity that we've dealt with in Dallas. And when I say mediocrity, you can have a 12-5 season and still be mediocre. Because when you get to the postseason, now we've lost 2 straight years to the San Francisco 49ers in the playoffs. Probably you know what? It's just funny. Here's a funny story. I was looking at the NFC playoff picture. It's pretty well set right now. We don't have necessarily the teams because we still don't know who's going to win the South, right? Mm-hmm. But Dallas is going to freaking San Francisco in the first round of the playoffs this year again. If they don't win the division over there, because they've got Seattle who's kind of competing too. But man, mediocrity in Dallas has been going on for a long, long time. Right. And if you don't do something about it, it's never going to change. And we always talk about in Dallas, well, the goal is to make the playoffs. Well, Jerry Jones says the goal is to make the Super Bowl every year. Playoffs aren't good enough for Dallas, right? I mean, they should be at this point. But so if you're a mediocre team and you make the playoffs, is that counterproductive? Like from a fan standpoint, you want to miss the playoffs. You don't want to make the playoffs. You want a better draft pick. Right. You want now some accountability for your coaches who just missed the playoffs, rather than winning your division at like 9-8 or something, and then being ousted by a number 1 seed or number 2 seed in the first round of the playoffs. It's just a false sense of accomplishment when you're a bad team or a mediocre team and you make the playoffs.
I agree. And that's why I always say you got to look. Don't look at just the results and the scores, although people, you are what your record says you are. That's true. That's true in some extent. But when you're trying to the ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl. And I'm not saying tank. That's not what I'm saying. No. I'm just saying if you're happy that they won a game and they still have a chance to be, 8-9 and win the NFC South, which is where I think they're headed. I just don't know if that's really what needs to be done here. And if it's because I don't think tanking is a good idea, but I tell you what I would like, and I know even after, this past weekend, Mike Evans goes out, drops 2 balls, including an easy touchdown, but also puts up 143 yards and a touchdown, and was a big reason you won the game. But you could also be sitting here with the Jets' first-round pick and having shipped off Mike Evans at the deadline, and you probably would have lost this game. And you probably would be headed towards a 4 or 5 win season, but you'd have 2 top 15 picks to rebuild this team with in a quarterback heavy draft. Now, which would you rather have, Tim? Would you rather go 8-9 with Mike Evans and get your ass kicked by the Eagles or the Cowboys in the first round of the playoffs like last year? Or would you rather be, and have Todd Bowles coming back as your head coach for another season? Or would you rather be 4 or 5 win team with 2 top 15 picks, and you could still sign Mike Evans, by the way? He'll be a free agent.
I was just about to say that. You might get him back anyway.
So, I mean, think about it. Which would you rather do? Where would you rather be, Buck fans? I don't think there's any decision there. If you're truly interested in winning a Super Bowl, then I mean, and I'm not talking about hiring Jim Harbaugh and getting JJ McCarthy. That's not where I'm going with this. But what would you rather have? 2 top 15 picks and bringing in a new coaching staff and drafting a quarterback? That could be Michael Penix. That could be Bo Nix. Maybe that doesn't get you excited.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't do anything for me.
Although, hey, he's gotten a whole hell of a lot better since he went to Oregon.
To a real team.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to ask you right here, Buck fans. Would you rather have taken that first round pick and have 2 top 15 picks and getting a new coaching staff and go through a 4 or 5 win season the rest of the way? Or are you happy with where you're at 4 and 5 and a chance to win some games and, get to 8 and 9 or 9 and 8 and win the NFC South and get your ass kicked at home in your first playoff game by Dallas maybe again? I'd choose A. I'd choose A. And B might make you feel better for the rest of the season, but it's just giving you false hope. It's giving you false hope. Todd Bowles is never going to be a Super Bowl coach. If the players have to tell him how they need to play for him to figure that out, if injuries have to happen in order for them to replace substandard people, if you need more than 9 weeks when you have Yaya Diaby to keep Joe Tryon-Shoyinka in there and to keep giving him more snaps, why should I have any confidence that this team's ever going to get better under your leadership?
And I see Jeremy's comment here. Jeremy Lowe says it's a loser mentality when a fan wants their team to tank. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about losing on purpose. We're talking about building your team for the future when there is none right now. We're not saying lose on purpose. We're saying making moves that will make your team better in the long run. We're not talking about losing on purpose. That's ridiculous. Nobody wants that.
But to his point, if you trade Mike Evans, you're certainly not doing that for this season.
Nope.
You're not. And could that be considered, quote, tanking?
Not when you get a draft pick for him, a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
That's called building.
Yeah, that's called building. But it's not. It doesn't help you in the immediate. I would agree with that. So I guess it's more about, what is your definition of tanking? Because tanking is supposedly building for the future. But I see tanking as like completely ripping down everything. Like tanking would have been not signing Baker Mayfield, not getting rid of all your good players, for draft picks. But tanking. So I think, but making smart moves, when I heard that the Jets offered a number 1 for Mike Evans, I'm like, wow. Especially since he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Bucs Basement says, I really do hope Bowles is fired, especially now with players coaching themselves, because him and his staff are abysmal, which we see it on Sundays. He's bad head coach. He just can't stand there like a statue. I think it's a bad look. I really do. It says, after also watching the entire lineup of games on Sunday, the winner of the NFC South is the 4th seed and will be facing the 5th seed, which would be the Eagles or Cowboys. That's why there's no reason to win. It's hard to argue with that, right?
Is that a loser mentality right there, though? Like, I don't think so. That's just the scenario we're looking at.
James says it took so long because someone talked to him. Maybe Jason, maybe BA, but someone got in his ear, JP. Yeah, I think it was the players. It was the players who said, Coach, like, we don't want to play this soft-ass zone all the time and play rush. We don't want to do it.
He's about to have a mutiny on his hands.
Yeah, exactly. And I think maybe, and let me throw this out at you, Tim. As a head coach, okay, maybe as a head coach, you play more safe as a defensive play caller, right? Because you don't want to be seen as the reason that you lost the game. Maybe his, the Rams game from 2 years ago in the playoffs where he calls these blitzes and we lose a game that you probably should have won in the playoffs. Maybe that he still has PTSD from that and he can't be an aggressive coach anymore. But maybe because you're the head coach, you're not as aggressive because you don't want to be seen as the person who loses the game. Whereas maybe when you're a defensive coordinator, just like this is on me. I don't know. Maybe that's a mentality. All I can say is ever since he's become the head coach, the defense hasn't been as aggressive and not as good in my mind.
Well, and when you're coaching, when you change your coaching style based on, if you've been elevated or not in the organization, and you're not, and you used to be aggressive and now you're not, to me, you're coaching to not lose. You're not coaching to win.
Yeah.
You're afraid of making a mistake. That's how it is with players. If they're not being aggressive on the field, it's usually because they're afraid to make a mistake. You can't be afraid to make a mistake coaching or playing in this league. That's not how it works.
Yeah. James says, I'd rather keep Mike Evans. How did trading A.J. Brown help the Titans? Even still very productive. He still wins one or ones every game. Well, you don't have a first-round pick if you don't trade Mike Evans. You don't have 2 first-round picks, which you could use on an edge rusher and a quarterback in the first round, a la the Houston Texans, who look like they turned around things pretty quickly with that strategy, right?
Also, adding a head coach helped.
Yeah, and just right there. Look at the Houston Texans. Look what they did. You draft 2 Brocks of the future, get a new head coach with some charisma and some aggressiveness. Look how quickly they've turned. If you're, as a Bucs fan right now, would you rather be where the Houston Texans are right now or where you are? Is that even is there anything? You'd much rather be. First of all, they just beat you. Second of all, they have, in my mind, the best quarterback of the future in the game. That's probably too early to say that. Let me retract that.
Well, it's an opinion. I mean,
he's probably he's not there yet. But from what I've seen, that dude has all the tools. I mean, all the tools: leadership, arm, anticipation, touch, velocity, size. I mean, he's got it all. But you've got some really good building blocks on that Houston team.
Yeah, and Nick Caserio, by the way, when they knew they were going to draft C.J. Stroud, completely retooled that offensive line.
Right.
And that offensive line is completely different because the first thing he wanted to do was protect his rookie quarterback. And look what's happening.
Yeah. James says, they can still do both. And I agree. But, if you go 9-8, you're not firing Todd Bowles. I got news for you. You're not. No. You're not. No, you're not. All right, we're going to take a break. We got a surprise guest coming on. Anthony Becht is going to join us, who is now known, used to be a first-round pick, used to be a former Bucs tight end. Now he's just known as Rocco's dad. So, when your son's a D1 quarterback and playing well at Iowa State, you lose your entire identity, right? You just become Rocco's dad. Anthony's going to join us. We're going to talk some Buccaneer football. We'll talk some college football. We got the Jim Harbaugh stuff to get to. Lots more coming your way. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If you've been in an accident, go to the guy who lives here and works here, has offices in St. Pete, offices in Tampa, not some big law firm where you'll never get a call back. Go with the community guy, and that's Scott Jeeves, JEEVES lawgroup.com. And we're brought to you by the Patio as well. The Patio was packed last night with Bills fans, and they went home pretty sad. What a way to lose a game. They may have stayed after, though, and bought a lot of hemlock. I don't know. All right, back at 3. Stay with us.
Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity. at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Tuesday as we roll through. We're going to do some more, we'll do some lightning a little bit later on in the show. Matt Matera is going to join us from the Pewter Report. Tim Ham joining me here, IndyCar Tim from Dallas, and our cast of thousands. Let's welcome in our good friend Anthony Becht, former first-round pick of the New York Jets, also a Buccaneers tight end, 12 years in the NFL, and now known just as Rocco's dad.
He's in the building!
Yes, he is. What's up, Anthony? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Proud papa. Look at that Iowa State hat. Man,
hey, JP, I got to tell you, listen, I don't remember when I was playing. Did they sell T-shirts with your your face and I mean, look at this, dude. Like,
oh my God,
October. The kid's undefeated in October. What can I say? That's the only
October. I love
That's
it.
Amazing.
There was one with his flow too, like
it.
Rocco's flow, right? There's a T-shirt for his hair too?
Yeah, he's got one with his head on it, and I know. I just think it's funny. That's all. I just do.
Oh, it's fantastic. Do we have a shampoo deal, NIL deal yet?
You know, you're not. Listen, everybody's like, oh, you know, we got to call. I said that we can't call Head and Shoulders. They got their guys. We got to go to like Perk Plus or something like that. You know, like. You know, something a little lesser that doesn't have a guy. We can take their money. So not yet, though. Not yet.
It's still around.
I
don't use a lot of shampoo here.
Yeah, I think the dollar store has it. So
yes, they do.
Still have some in the shower. To be honest.
Yeah, because you buy a bottle, and for us, it lasts like 3 years, right?
Exactly.
For us, I know, fantastic. It's got to be so much fun though, watching your kid play, and then we didn't think it would happen this early, right? This was a bit unexpected, was it not?
Well, you know, I think for Rocco and myself, and just kind of him sitting back and watching last year. You know, even though he redshirted, he was the backup. You know, you feel like what you see and what's going on and how you prepare and, you know, physically and mentally, you know, he didn't waste that year. I think that was the biggest thing for him, even though he was on the backside watching it from afar. And, you know, he always prepared himself. So, you know, I think the plan internally was it really didn't matter who, what, when, where. But, you know, if you stayed the course and you did what you needed to do, you be on the field when you deserve to be on the field. So the competition plus the circumstances with the suspensions and things of that nature, whatever it is, doesn't really matter, right? You're out there. So now when you're out there, how do you keep it? Mm-hmm. And how do you continue to raise your game every week? That's the challenge, right? When you get your chance. So I think the one thing for him, he knows how to prepare every week. And if you watch him and you're just a casual person, you know, you would seem like, okay, like the kid looks like he knows what he's doing. And that comes from preparation, JP. Like that's, if there's anything I stress to him, and he gets a lot of it from me, is, what you do on Sunday through Friday is the most vital thing. I mean, there is a full day of work for him on Sunday, which, that's got to be part of your makeup. And right now he gets that. So it shows on the field. It has to show it. Look, you're going to have bad games, but if you're prepared, it minimizes that week in and week out.
Yeah, I'm interested to know, just because you're Iowa State and you think quarterback, everybody Brock Purdy played there, right? And Matt Campbell's one hell of a coach. Obviously, there's a connection there. Is Brock reached out to Rocco at all? And what residue do you see there that is making Rocco a better quarterback vis-a-vis Matt Campbell, and how it prepared Brock to be this crazy good NFL quarterback? I don't know if I'm trying to make a connection that's not there. Tell me, but what do you see?
There was always a sentiment that the skill set was very similar when he was being recruited by them.
That's what I thought.
I think, the difference is, and listen, Brock played as a freshman, I think 4 games in, he got the starting job and, took advantage of it and put the work in. Brock's a head down, blue collar, lunch pail kind of kid. And really that's Rocco as well. But, Rocco has a little bit more in the toolbox into that situation. So just being prepared for it. And listen, they have 25 underclassmen playing at any given time. So they're a young team. So, that's the great thing about it, but also a tough thing about it, that makes it, even better to watch week in and week out. But Brock has reached out to him. They've texted throughout the season. He had a big game against Oklahoma State. He reached out and congratulated him. And then Kansas game, which they lost, he was at that game, and they talked on Friday after the game. And Breece Hall, these guys stay in touch, and they're on a text chain and
nice
stuff like that. So he gets that from some of the players that were there before. But there is. I mean, look, Brock had close to 50 starts. In his career, man. Like, to me, he may not have been the most gifted quarterback, but when you talk about coming out of college and being in every scenario and situation and being prepared for that, you can't tell me that kid can't excel in the NFL in the right system with all those things around it. And that's what you're saying with him. And I love the fact that Brock was just before Rocco, because those eyeballs are always going to be there, whether you like it or not. And you got a chance to put yourself in a position, if you do the right things and you're coachable and your team, wins games and you get those moments to really pattern yourself the same way. So listen, that's a long way away, but I'm so proud of what he's done. And, I'm happy for him. He's light years ahead of me, man. I didn't know jack squat when I was in college. I was trying to figure out how to put on weight. That was like my main thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to study, film, prepare. I just didn't. I mean, it took me a while. I just, out of sheer luck and size, I got on the field early.
Well, your dad wasn't in the NFL for 12 years either.
Yeah,
so
what the hell,
it's
man?
probably
What a crappy dad. I mean,
come on, Dad. What are we doing here, right? Good God. Well, that's just, congrats to you and the family. It's just been so fun to watch, and there's so much more to come. Like, what do you see ahead for this season? Obviously a bowl game. I mean, how good could this get this year?
Man, I'll tell you, it's all about putting yourselves in a position to have meaningful games at the end of the year. This team was picked to win 2 games this year. Right. I mean, they were just written off, and I get it. I mean, but I think this has been one of the best coaching jobs Matt Campbell has done, I think, in his career, because to get these many young players to play at a good level every week has been really good. So they secured their bowl game, right? So they got their 6th win at BYU. They're 6-4, and now they're tied for second, in the Big 12 with Texas and Kansas State. They play Texas primetime Saturday at home under the lights. So you got everything you want. Now, is Texas a better team than Iowa State on paper? They are. But 18, 19, 20-year-olds, any given Saturday, man, you don't know. Like, whoever plays best, like Brady says, is going to win the game.
That's
so
right.
They're going to get another chance on primetime. They didn't get it done against Kansas, and Kansas is a very good team.
Yeah.
But you can't sit there and tell me that, with everything there. And I think the best thing about it is they secured their bowl. They got that 6th win last week. So I feel like that pressure isn't going to be there. Now you just throw it out and see what you can do, man. And I think that's the best part about it for Campbell and his kids, that I think you can go into this game, with your sleeves rolled up and just, hey, let's go into a fight and see what happens.
Anthony, I got a question for you. I love, when you carry on the family line in football. My dad played collegiately. I never followed. I was a wimp, but
his dad played for Bear Bryant. It's a Junction boy. How about that?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
he did. But so there's no question, Rocco came to you at a younger age, you guys playing the same position, trying to pick your brain, advice and things like that. At this level and going into a game like against Texas, it means so much for the Big 12 and so much for Iowa State. Does he still pick your brain about defenses? And Dad, when you're seeing this, what would you have done? What would you do here?
You know what? When I coach with Rocco now from a side, it's more questions, right? I'll watch film and I'll phrase things. I want to know why from him. I don't want him to ask me what to do. I want him to understand, okay, rolled out here, defenders free, you kind of overthrew it, and then he's like, no, I already know, like, I gotta make a move. I got to do this, or, why did your eyes go here to here in certain places, so it's more the question game with him, because I know he knows I can tell he understands the questions that are already coming. So that's kind of, how it is. Now I play tight end, but I mean, again, just coaching and being around quarterbacks and just doing it. I mean, that's kind of how I kind of perceive where he's at, because, he's got to understand, like, yeah, sure. It's easy to sit there and say, why did you throw that interception? You can't do that, but you got to make sure he understands what the issues were, right? And why it didn't work out. So, I'd say that's kind of where we're at. And I'll be honest with you, the last couple of home games, I actually go up early. I'll go in tomorrow. He'll get done around, 8:30. We'll grab a bite of food. We'll go back in and we'll just watch practice. We'll put a little Texas film on, and, I'll just, again, questions like, oh, tell me about the coverage. Let's watch third downs. Let's watch some red zone stuff. What do you got going? It's really cool to listen to him, because that's where, like, he gets it, right? And he's young, and he's only going to get better at it, so I just enjoy that process of it. But being able to hang out, and he still wants me to be around, after the game this week. Like, hey, Dad, why don't you come up early this week, man? Well, and I'm just glad I have the ability to do that. I'm in a.
This must be so fun for you. This is
really is cool. So yeah, look, he doesn't need me to do anything for him. Okay, he's done it all, but giving him the base, and he's got to go with it though. He's got to understand, like, okay, this is what he's giving me. Like, now what do I do? Like, he's figuring that out. Yeah. And that's been the cool process about it.
And of course, I know you play tight end. I don't mean y'all play the same position, but I mean, it's got to be, from him playing quarterback though, it's got to be a whole nother level for other father-son combinations, watching y'all like play catch. Like, that must be pretty cool,
I don't listen. My hands, I put the gloves on, man. Like, there was a time I just grab it with one hand, JP, and just, hey, like, we're having a catch. Now I'm kind of like, he asked me, he'll come home like, hey, let's throw the ball in the street. I'm like, man, like,
my knees hurt.
I'm like, go get one of your buddies from college, from high school to come catch it. It's not. I'm like, it's not the same.
Hurts.
You know what I mean? When
he spins it, yeah. He can rip it. Yeah, I know. And there's probably not a lot of Iowa State fans out there, but you know what? You're a dad. We're a lot of the guys that watch the show are dads, and I'm sure they love listening to this and what you're going through. I'm living vicariously through you, and I think it must be so freaking fun on so many levels. But congrats to you and the family. So I'm gonna pick your brain about the Bucs though.
Sure.
And I said in my open here today, I don't know if winning this week, you always want to win. And I'm not saying you got to tank. I just, this coaching staff, I don't have a lot of faith in them. Basically, the players told them, this week, hey, we need to play a different way. Your coaching staff should finally pretty much figure that out. There's two games that they should have won it. They should have beat Atlanta. They should have beat Houston. I'm just at a conundrum right now. I want them to win games, but I just don't have any faith in Todd Bowles. I think they just need I don't know if Baker's the guy that's going to take him to a Super Bowl. He's doing great. I think he's playing pretty damn well given the circumstances, but I'm kind of, is it okay to be in the middle? Is it okay to go 8-9 again and win the NFC South and get your ass kicked in the playoffs? Or do you want to just totally retool, get a new coach, get a new quarterback? Where should you be if you're a Bucs fan?
Nah, I think expectation levels are just extremely too high by fan base and people. They're not in the middle, JP. They're a game out. I mean, and it just happens to be that their division is weak. But we've seen teams go in the playoffs at 9-7 or whatever, that beat teams. So it's all about where you're at in that moment. I'm just looking at their schedule. Their next 8 games, you can't tell me right now, outside of the 49ers, they can't win the next 7, 8 games. I just, Colts, Panthers, Falcons. I mean, it's a joke. I mean, you can't tell me every week when you walk in the building, you don't feel like you can win a game, and that's what you want. And they're in the hunt in their division. So why, look, I get it. Everybody wants to retool. There's ways to retool. Okay, without losing every game. Everybody's like, you got to get the top draft pick. Man, there's going to be 9 quarterback, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You don't have to get – who knows who's going to be the best guy, just wherever it
Brock
falls.
Purdy.
Yeah, just exactly. And then that's not going to happen every year. But, I just feel like expectation levels, man. Like, Bucs fans, to me, I get it. They want to see the better product. They think, we got to get back to where we were. It's going to take a different coach. Well, when they had what they needed, was Bowles good enough? Yes.
As the DC, as the DC.
What are you going to do? You just break and blow up the whole thing? First-time coordinator. Well, not first-time coordinator, but a guy's just learning. He's got makeshift pieces. I mean, let's
we lose Anthony.
4 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? So, I just feel like, listen, man, like wherever you are, as long as it's not, they're not tragically like losing like 2 wins right now or anything.
Right.
You just can't get too down. You got to roll with it, man. Like, it's easy to pick apart losses. I did it for a long time when I was covering the Bucs because they weren't very good, honestly. Right. So I just chose to go to the Jets, which I don't know right now was a better move or not. But we got to talk about the same things. Like, the Jets are really crappy, it seems like, but they're still a game out of first place. So it's like, what do you want? Just improve, get better, and be better from where you're at. But to say just blow the whole thing up at this point, I just think that's unfair. And to me, I just don't think an organization should go that route today.
I don't like tanking, and I don't, I'm not like, don't fire Bowles tomorrow. It's just like I look at, why does it take so long to figure out that you're not a soft zone team? And why does it take so long to figure out that Yaya Diaby is so much better than Joe Tryon? Why does it take so long to figure out your left guard is just awful and you've got guys that are better? Why does it take him so freaking long? I get frustrated with watching how this. They should have 6 wins. There's like, you lost to Atlanta at home. You lost to Houston in the way that you lost to them. I don't know. I get frustrated. Maybe I'm too much, and I'm not a fan. I'm trying to break it down and look at it from an analytical standpoint. And I'm just like, why does it take this coaching staff so long to figure stuff out? And it was the damn players that had to tell them, we don't want to play this way anymore. Coach, let us go. Let us play.
Well, listen, specifically on the defensive side, I mean, I can't question Todd too much. I mean, he's an accredited defensive.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
We sit here and we wait. Hopefully it comes back.
We wait.
You got to step back and you got to self-critique yourself a little bit. Are we there? Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we got you.
You got to self-critique yourself a little bit, and maybe that's what he did, which is fine. But look, maybe there's other players that are better, but maybe the gap isn't that big. Maybe day to day that player isn't exactly where they need to be to take the spot from the other guy. Because you really want, when you're talking about changing players and making those, like, you better make sure, like, that guy is significantly, like, that change is going to matter. And maybe it just isn't, and again, I've been on those teams as a player where you're like, man, like, I think this guy should be playing. Like, I don't get it. And there's a lot of other things behind that sometimes. And that's just part of the business of football, quite frankly. So, again, it's a weird deal, and we could say that about a lot of teams. But you watch the Bucs, you see them, you cover them. Look, they're not trying to. They can't try to tank. They're in a position right now where it's almost impossible because it's just the schedule to me is so attainably available for them to win that it's just like, man, you know what? At this point, let's just see, if we can go 5-3 or 6-2 in these next 8 games, which I think is very realistic, when you're talking about what they have.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Hey, before you go, have you had any contact with Jim Harbaugh? I don't know if you coached with him or played with, or I don't know all of your history, but what's going on with Michigan right now? I know you covered college football for a long time as well. Maybe you did some of their games. He just seems like such an odd dude to me. Like this at this point, I never thought that years and years ago. What the hell's going on at Michigan? Like what do you see?
Listen, what he's doing, what they were doing from whatever signs and stuff, like that stuff's legal. And teams send out scouts to the game. That's a standard practice. As far, I don't know about going as far as the side. He took it to an extreme, and whether he knew it or not, the guy's on a sideline, is under his watch.
Yeah,
I just know this. Harbaugh's a winner, man. Like I don't, he did it in the NFL. Like he took a team to the NFC Championship. 3 straight years. And they were not a good team, prior to him getting there.
True.
He's won in Michigan, and even in the years where they felt like he wasn't doing a good job, I just felt like his team wasn't that good and they were exceeding expectations. So is what he's done give him an advantage? Maybe, circumstances. You're really running the risk of trusting a kid that went to a game, that stole a sign, and just like going all in and saying, all right, now they're going to run. And then I know they would have, they had to have gotten caught in a bad spot.
Right.
We only see a couple video highlights of them making these great plays, and it's a few that I've seen, but I'm sure they've gotten burnt on a bunch of times as well that we just haven't seen either. So you are running the risk of doing those things. And, on the other side of it, like as a coach that maybe has a team, we're on TV, our calls are getting translated on TV. You see our signs. We know that we can't do the same stuff all the time. You got to tweak and change things. So shame on schools that just roll with the same stuff that they do every week. I just, to me, but listen, he is a different cat. He's a little odd, but he is a winner, man. Wherever he goes, he knows how to win. I feel bad for the players at Michigan because I don't know what's going to happen to the school or whatever the sanctions or whatever comes out of this thing, but it's taken away from what these kids are doing because, look, they're undefeated. You can't tell me
I agree.
Every game they've won is because they've stolen signs from the other team. They got good players, man, and I just don't want them to be part of this asterisk because that they feel like they have other team signals and stuff like that. So it puts the kids in a bad spot. That's unfortunate because the more hate, the people that don't like Harbaugh, they're really pouring it on, and they want to strip down everything that the program has when, in fact, those players are just going out there and they're good players and they're winning every game they play.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think I overreacted at first because I thought it was so dramatic, the difference in the last 2 years, his record since they started doing this.
Right. It's crazy.
And
man.
it is. But also,
he's got good players, man. Listen, you can't calling signs and figuring out signs aren't going to help a kid break a tackle, make a tackle, catch a football, deliver a football, a touchdown throw in the red zone. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's going to be cover 2. Well, you know what? Sometimes you can just see that at the line of scrimmage.
Exactly.
So, I don't know, man. It may help you a little bit, but you still got to execute, man.
Yep.
Like we said earlier about, I would say 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. You got to go out there and do it every time in front of 100,000 on TV every week with the distractions of your coach not being there for 4 games this year.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know, man. Like, I get it, but, punish the coach, fine him, whatever you have to do. It was under his watch. At the end, let's move on because, sometimes you don't want to open Pandora's box with some of this stuff because, as much as everybody may find on Michigan, don't tell me for 2 seconds that they're trying to scrape up stuff on other programs. So, other coaches, it's a fine line on what they say and how they talk about this, in my opinion, because there's a lot out there that people may not want their laundry out there. And it's interesting to see.
That's what Michigan's response was so good. Is like, you really want to do this? Because we know a lot of stuff.
I can tell you this, JP. I've been a head coach for 1 year in my career, and I got nothing out there that's bad. No dirty laundry. I've never cheated. You could go back to my entire past, which is 1 year, and I have nothing bad that's in my resume. So
keep it clean.
I may be one of the cleanest head coaches out there in the country right now.
Keep it clean, brother.
No
Hey,
doubt.
always great to talk to you, man. Congrats on the success with Rocco and the family. That's fantastic. I'll be watching on Saturday night. Can't wait. It's going to be fun. Thanks, buddy.
All right, guys. Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Anthony Beck right there. Man, that is so cool. I always love getting his perspective because, he's right about the Bucs. You still have a long season in front of you and a lot of games that you could win. I'm probably looking too macro at it, and we're right in the middle of the season and I'm already looking towards the draft. And I typically don't like doing that because they do have a great opportunity in front of them. You never know who's going to get hurt. And it's more, to me, it's just more about the coaching staff. I just don't have any confidence that they're going to coach these games well, make the needed adjustments and make the needed, personnel decisions down the stretch. And if it is going to and I do look at it from a macro of, do I want to see 9-8, 8-9, another division championship, the same coaching staff coming back, same everything? No, I don't want that. I would rather have a couple of draft picks in the first round and be able to retool. But that's also throwing away a season that's very, very, that's winnable. And for fans, you got a lot of games left.
Yeah, for sure. We got a little bit of breaking news on the Texas A&M coaching front, JP. As one of the top candidates that were thrown out by whoever thinks they knew about these things. It was, of course, denying any connection. Oregon coach Dan Lanning adamantly denied any potential interest for leaving the Ducks to take the coaching position at Texas A&M. He says, quote, "I'm not going anywhere. There's zero chance I will be coaching anywhere else. I've got unfinished business here," end quote. That's from CBS Sports. Isn't that what they all say, though?
Yes, right before they leave.
Right.
Mike Norvell, soon to follow with same said press release.
Yeah.
Probably from the same company. Yeah.
Word for word.
Yeah, I think that's what Jimbo Fisher said right before he took the A&M job.
He did deny it, didn't he? I think he did deny it.
And then we later found out that he got the deal done in late September. Mm-hmm. Late September of that year, which is why, the Christmas tree was out.
Yeah.
But also, and I subsequently found out that and after late September, the game plans were very similar every week. Like he wasn't even game planning, wasn't even breaking down film. He would change a couple of things in the script, but for the most part, it was this. And the players were like, wow, this is weird. We used to have completely different game plans and scripts every week. Now it's like a lot the same. And the coaches were told to go off the recruiting trail. I mean, just wow.
Yeah, well, now he can go spare everybody to death over at Boise State or wherever he's going to end up.
I heard West Virginia.
Well, there you go. That's where he's from. So
yeah, that seems like a great landing spot for him.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Matt Matera is going to join us from the Pewter Report. We're going to dig down deep into this future of the Buccaneers. What last week meant? Was it good? Was it bad? We'll look ahead with Matt Matera from the Pewter Report. We are brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. If you want to lose weight, get your testosterone right, get your immune system right, that's the place to go. Get the personal attention you so richly deserve at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Gold and Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
Got yourself on mute, JP.
There we go. Better.
Do you have any old coins sitting?
No, I don't. Welcome back to the show here as we continue on with Matt Batera from the Pewter Report. That was a great, interesting discussion we had with Anthony Becht vis-a-vis the Buccaneers to set me straight. What's up, Matty? How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good. Well, you know, it's much more fun to talk about a win, and we didn't get to do that very much in October, if at all. And so it was great to see a win. But here I sit today, and I'm like, was it the best thing for the Bucs long term? I mean, I don't know. They got a lot of season left, and there's Anthony just set me straight on this. They can win the NFC South, but my feeling is it better to be 8-9 again or 9-8 in NFC South, get your ass kicked into by Dallas or Philadelphia, and have one draft pick instead of sending Mike Evans to the Jets and sitting there with 2 top 15 picks? And Todd Bowles is gone, and you're starting over, and maybe you can do what the Texans did and grab a great edge rusher and quarterback for the future. So I'm in a conundrum, bro. Where should we? If you're a Bucs fan, where are you going with this?
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying, but I think there's also that element of just the pursuit of trying to be as great as you can possibly be. The thrill of competition, and they always say, "Oh, you just got to get into the dance of the postseason, and anything
that is true
can happen." I'm not sitting here saying that the Bucs are Super Bowl contenders by any means. And another thing that you can kind of rely on a little bit for this year is that it is a very heavy quarterback class, more than it has been in the past 2 years. I mean, 2 years ago, the quarterback class was terrible. Kenny Pickens was like the only guy that got picked in the first round. So the Bucs could benefit from having such a deep quarterback class where maybe you don't even pick one in the first round, or you can wait. And if you have the 15th overall pick or the 20th overall pick because you just got into the playoffs. Yeah. So I think that's a little easy on the mind for Bucs fans. And the last thing I'll say is, with the Saints and the Falcons continuously losing and tripping on themselves as well, and losing to bad teams too, it might just take 8 and 9 to win the division. Sadly enough.
Yeah. Well, I guess, and there's a lot of season to go. You don't want to write it off and just not enjoy it. Like you said, it's the thrill of the competition, and they could, I'm sitting there thinking, well, Baker could get hot, and maybe Trey Palmer really takes a step forward, and you get a really great third option, right? After that catch we saw him make this week, and it was a catch, by the way. I mean, maybe K. Dotton is coming on as a decent weapon, and maybe Yaya Diaby, and now with Cansey, you've got the makings of a pretty damn good defense. Maybe if the coordinator gets his head out of his behind and they stay aggressive the rest of the year, and maybe Carlton comes back and gets to play. Maybe this team could get a lot better. My problem is I don't trust the coaching staff to get that done.
Yeah, I don't really believe in the consistency. You saw it last week, and that was fantastic. And by the way, you mentioned Kalijah Cansey and Yaya Diaby. Shout out to some of these young rookie defenders because
let them play.
Let them play. Todd Bowles made some adjustments. He gave Yaya Diaby more playing time. Yaya played more than Joe Tryon-Shoyinka and Anthony Nelson.
Freaking time.
Exactly, about freaking time. They stopped the experiment of playing Ryan Neal every single play on defense. Scott Reynolds said it best. It's like they were doing hockey shifts like the Lightning game,
right.
Ryan Neal goes in, bam, he's out, and D. Delaney comes in, and Christian Izzian, who's their slot corner, he also got a little bit of time at safety. And I think that made it all for the better on the defense, and they finally got a consistent pass rush. And the training wheels are completely off of Kalijah Cansey. He played 73% of the snaps. That was 6th highest on the team. And let's remember, he missed most of training camp, most of the first month of the season. If he's not a game wrecker just yet, and I think it's a little too early to say that, but I mean, he is having his imprint on last game all over the place when you watch it. So there is the potential to build some great things with this team. And on offense, like Rachaad White, you can make that he's your second best offensive weapon.
Oh, no question at this point. Yeah.
And Trey Palmer, I was at the joint practice against the Jets. I saw him cook Sauce Gardner deep down the field. So he has all the potential and the athleticism. It's just really putting it together. There are certain pieces that you like. Quarterback, big one that you got to figure out, and free agency and all that stuff. But if they take care of business playing against the NFC South, I know the 49ers is tough this week, but you still play the Panthers twice. You still play the Saints and the Falcons another time. The Colts are on the schedule, so fairly favorable for the Bucs down the stretch.
Yeah, that was going to be my question to you. Looking at the remaining schedule with the Bucs, not even at 500 right now, but really New Orleans is your only concern in the division, it seems like. I mean, Atlanta's right there, but I don't think anybody has high hopes for them. I haven't seen the injury situation on Derek Carr yet in New Orleans, so I'm not sure what his future is. I did see that he got hurt, but other than San Francisco and maybe, Jacksonville on Christmas Eve, it looks like a pretty soft schedule for the Bucs the rest of the way. Like, I would guess that hopes are pretty high for a division, right? I mean, and maybe they're not going to get a wild card out of the South for sure, but a division for sure.
Absolutely. I think, and there's a number of these games. I like to call them coin flip games. You can go back to even the first game of the season against the Vikings. You could have said the Vikings were going to win, and it wouldn't surprise me. You could have said that the Bucs were going to win, and it wouldn't surprise me. So they have a lot of coin flip games on the remaining of their schedule outside of the 49ers this week. And as you said, Tim, the Jaguars on Christmas Eve. The problem is, are the Bucs going to win all of those coin flip games? They didn't against the Houston Texans. They did not against the Atlanta Falcons. So they have to take care of their own business. But on paper, yeah, absolutely. You look at them playing the Colts after Thanksgiving. The Colts just beat the Patriots in Germany 10-6. Does that really inspire, fear of the Indianapolis Colts? No, I don't necessarily think so. We all see what's going on with the Panthers, both on the field and off the field with their crazy owner, and he hates the coach, and he's only been there for a year. So, yeah, there's a lot of winnable games that you could point to and say, all right, there is potential for this team to make the postseason, but will the team win those games? Will Todd Bowles consistently call a great game on defense and consistently push the right buttons with this player, and this player on the offensive side of the ball as well. That kind of remains to be seen.
Matt Matera joining us here from the Pewter Report. You mentioned Rachaad White, and I think he's got, 2 straight games now, over 100 yards combined from scrimmage, which is what we expected this to be. Now, I thought last week was better. I think the Titans, by the way, are not a very good team, especially with their
Very
offensive
true.
line in shambles. But, give the credit to the Bucs for doing what they had to do. I would rather see 5 more screen passes than 5 more runs up the middle, inside zone. I'd also throw in, 5 outside tosses instead of running it straight up the middle, which again is your weakness. Your interior line is your weakness.
Yeah.
Why you keep trying to run behind Robert Hainsey is a mystery. So I still think Canales has a ways to go to take advantage of the best weapons that he had. And I think Rachaad White has shown that when put in a position to make a play like that screen pass, he hit the Jets. I forget which linebacker it was that had him, but it's just a step behind him. But when, it's all that was needed, and he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, and this is the 3rd week in a row where Rachaad has really had an impact on this team. So, if it happens a couple times, you're like, okay, this is nice. There's some momentum. But now he's proven it. Now he's proven he is a legitimate threat for this offense when you get him out in space. And that's really the key. So, as far as the run game goes for the Bucs, I think it is what it is. Has it improved? Yeah, I would say a little bit incrementally. They still only ran for like 77 yards, and 2 of them was a Baker scramble, so those weren't designed runs. At this point, the run game is what it is, but I think you can counteract that with, as you said, more screenplays. And I think Dave Canales has tried to call certain things, just getting the ball in the hands of Rachaad White, and it still counts as a run play, or what you would get from a better run game with these short passes. They had the end around with Devin Tompkins. They've been pretty successful when they do the end arounds, either with Tompkins. They've done it with Chris Godwin before too. So I would like to see that used a little bit more. The screen game has worked great when they've gotten to it. I do wonder though, because I remember Canales a couple of weeks ago, he was asked about just like the offense improving and all this stuff, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, listen, we got a long season. We have opponents that are going to watch our tape. I don't want to put everything out on tape just yet. And at the time I was like, all right, well, where do you balance just the offense regressing versus
win games?
Like, gotta win games, gotta put points on the board. So I do wonder when we get to December, and we're already almost halfway through November, which is crazy to say. I do wonder, like in December, when you have these divisional games against the Falcons and the Saints for the second time, things of that, how much different and variety do we get with this offense where maybe they start doing some halfback sweeps a little bit more and some tosses and things of that nature? Because Canales has shown he will mix it up a little bit. Chris Godwin attempted a pass a couple of weeks ago. So to say that he hasn't been creative at all, I think he's sprinkling it here and there, but I really think he's going to go full throttle in December. That's just kind of a prediction of mine.
God, I hope so. Because we need to see more offensively. So I put out a poll this morning on the quarterback situation at Baker. Like, what do you do? Because I think Baker's played pretty damn well. He's 14th in QBR, ahead of guys by the name of Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow. It's like he's played pretty damn well. But is he the future? I don't know. So far we got about 103 votes. 32% say bring back Baker. 7% dump Baker, draft a quarterback. 53% say keep Baker and draft a quarterback. And 8% only give Trask a shot. So I think there's a lot of Baker fans here, and I think he's won a lot of people over, that he's been pretty damn good. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, overall, and let's remember that the Bucs signed him to a 1-year deal for $4 million. When you look at the Saints and what they paid for Derek Carr and a couple other quarterbacks around the league, so what they are getting from Baker for what they are paying him has been tremendous value. I think he's playing like a $4 million quarterback, where sometimes he's a little inconsistent, a little below average, but when he picks it up, and I think the last 2 games, he's shown that when you put other things around him, and if the defense plays like it did against Tennessee, listen, they lost to the Texans. They scored 37 points. Like, that's a really good pay from Baker Mayfield. And that last game was the definition of Todd Bowles football, just complementary on offense and defense. The defense shuts you down, and the offense scores points when they need to. When you get that type of Baker Mayfield, you can win a division. Again, maybe not a Super Bowl. So I think he's been a little up and down, Baker, but that's kind of been his whole career. I like what I've seen from him, especially from the last 2 weeks, and I think he's definitely earned the contract that the Bucs are paying him. So fast forward to next season, I really like the idea, and we'll see how the rest of the season goes, but if we're just looking at how the Bucs have already done, I like the idea of giving a similar contract, maybe a little bit more for Baker, depending on how a season ends up. Sign him to another 1-year deal, and then also drafting a quarterback as well. Because, everyone always makes the comparison to Geno Smith and everything that Geno did, and Geno got maybe not a mega contract like Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes, but yeah, clearly got a big-time payday.
3 years.
Yeah.
A little longer, yeah.
Exactly. I don't think Baker should get paid the Geno Smith type of money. Just flat out, I don't think so.
If you can get away with it.
Yeah. And
will somebody else come after him and offer him a 3-year deal? I don't think so.
Baker's not going to win comeback player of the year either.
No, exactly. Yeah, he's been very constant. So I think, and again, with this quarterback draft class being so heavy, you're taking a big risk by saying, we're putting all of our eggs in the Baker Mayfield basket. And then if he implodes next season, now you're looking around, what's our other option? Yeah. We don't have any because we didn't take the best quarterback draft class in the last, 3 or 4 years. We didn't take a quarterback at all. And I don't think there's anything wrong with letting a quarterback sit for a year, a rookie quarterback. I understand everyone. We want results now. You got to put him in right away. I don't know. I don't necessarily always see it like that. I think every situation kind of dictates its own story.
So is the consensus in Tampa Bay and Tampa, Kyle Trask isn't the guy?
Well, if you ask a Gator fan, they'll be like, he's got to play tomorrow. Right. Things of that nature.
This poll would suggest there's not a lot of Kyle Trask love out there right now, nor should there be. Baker's done a good enough job where he's held him off. That said, if this team's not going to make the playoffs, at some point I'd like to see what Trask can do in a game because, you could get all the preseason film you want and, tape, practice tape. Until you see a guy play a few games, you don't know what he can do in the NFL.
I fully agree with you, and I also think that they got to find out what they have with Kyle Trask at some point or another because that's going to go down as one of the most wasted draft picks of all time. I mean, he was a second-round pick. Granted, it was the last pick of the second round, so it's really more of a third-round pick. But, you're coming off of a Super Bowl. You still had that whole offense intact and everything, really the whole team intact.
Yeah.
And so it was a luxury pick at the time, but now you're talking about a second-round pick, arguably an early third-round pick, that is never going to see the field when they could have addressed a number of different
of needs
at the time. So unfortunately, it'll go down as a very wasted pick, but we'll see.
Well, it's kind of a catch-22 for the Bucs, right? Because we've been talking the whole show about how they need to continue to try to win, but yet you have to do that with Baker. The consensus is, of course, Baker's better than Trask.
Yeah.
And unless the Bucs go like on a 3 or 4 game skid here and the playoff hopes are completely gone, Baker's playing the rest of the season, and you're never going to find out what you have with Trask.
That's right.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely a very difficult position to be in, but I guess really the question is, would you rather make the playoffs with Baker and never find out what Kyle Trask is, or would you rather have a bad team and now you find out what Kyle Trask is, and if he's not the answer, then you just feel even worse about yourself because you have a bad team and no quarterbacks at all. It's a would you rather, and I think most Bucs fans would at least rather compete to make the postseason.
Matty Batera joining us here. You were at the game this week. I went to Tallahassee and couldn't get back in time. I was too hungover. But I heard. I was watching the game, obviously, and I was like, wow, this crowd looks awful thin on the visitor side. And it wasn't much. It didn't seem like there was much of an atmosphere. And maybe there were a lot of people that like me this weekend. What was the crowd like?
So I actually wasn't at the game. We do a Peter Game Day show every week where we live stream. So I was hosting that. So I wasn't at the game. Scott was at the game, a couple other Peter reporters, but I was not there.
We'll ask him tomorrow on that. But yeah, I think there was a feeling that there wasn't the most lively crowd at the game.
Well, it's tough when you lose 4 in a row.
Yeah, exactly. The post-Brady era, losing 4 in a row. It's not people, and it was hot, man. It was a hot day. It's like you'd think in November it would be a little bit nicer, but maybe that kept some people away. I don't know. All right, so they got San Francisco coming up this week and Brock Purdy. And, nobody's chalked this up as a W, but this is also a team that lost 3 in a row. It's not the 49ers of old, or at least the 49ers of the early season.
Yeah.
Maybe the Bucs go in there and sneak one out. Is that a possibility?
Sure. Any given Sunday, anything is possible, and the Bucs have a little bit of momentum. But on that same note, the 49ers, while they did struggle, they went out and smoked the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday. So they're trying to get their swagger back a little bit. I think what's kind of the scariest thing, if you're a Bucs fan, you're getting ready for this game against the 49ers, is that style of offense that San Francisco runs with Shanahan out there. That, for whatever reason, has just been as you got a Superman mug, that's been the kryptonite of Todd Bowles, is that style of offense. For whatever reason, he just hasn't been able to dial up a good defense against it. So obviously it's going to be important to stop McCaffrey. The 49ers still do a ton in the run game to set up everything else. But I mean, with Samuel back and Kittle, they've done a good job against the tight ends overall this season. But man, I mean, they struggle playing zone, and it's difficult to play man-to-man against those caliber of wide receivers. It's definitely an uphill battle. I think the Bucs are going to have to steal some possessions, whether it's, maybe get a great return, some turnovers, a crazy special teams play. I think, that would be just what the doctor ordered this week against San Francisco. It ain't going to be easy, but it's not impossible.
You guys want some breaking NFL news?
What do we got?
Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey has been fired.
Wow. So they're going to give their new offensive coordinator, their new play caller, the first defense he's going up against is the Jets. That's a really, really difficult task to
boy, that's mid-season
weird timing
firings. Wow. Yeah. So who's taking over? Does it say? Do we know? Does it matter?
I'm reading Adam Schefter's nothing on.
It's not Brian Daboll, so that's that's about the only thing we know would help, and it ain't going to be him. So, it could be worse in Tampa, that's for sure. All right, Maddie, tell everybody how they can get the great content from the Pewter Report.
Yeah, of course. We got the Pewter Report podcast on our YouTube channel 4 times a week at Pewter Report TV. Our YouTube channel, social media is Pewter Report, and my personal Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, is Maddie _Matera, Matera. And thanks again for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Great stuff, Maddie. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right, later.
We have that's some breaking news. And I guess, did the Saints pick up JPP? I didn't see that. Jason Pierre-Paul, because I know he was trying to hook on with somebody. So that's interesting.
He still got a little left, right, JPP?
He was here. I mean, he was awesome when he came here. He was a huge part of winning that Super Bowl. His competitiveness and I mean, he was. I love that dude. But I think he got a little broken down at the end there. I'm sure he's still in great shape and might be able to give you a few games depending on where they're at. But
maybe he's a playoff run.
Yeah, and he's a great presence in the locker room. I mean, a tremendous presence in the locker room. So he's going to bring that regardless of his physical skills. A guy like that, it's kind of the you get an edge rusher to give you 20 plays a game, with that length and that skill. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, absolutely. And the attitude, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side and get into we got the Harbaugh sound we want to get to. We got some Todd Bowles we're going to listen to as well. The Bolts are on the road, a couple more games. They got St. Louis tonight. We'll talk about that. Vassie back on the ice. That's good stuff. So lots more ahead here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Patio. Don't forget, that's the place to watch any games, football, basketball, whatever you want to watch. Under the stars, under the palm trees. A great, great place. 421 South McDill. Big weekend coming up for football watching there as well. So remember, it's the Patio where everybody meets. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We appreciate you guys joining us. Don't forget to like us on your podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you get the notification when it drops. And we appreciate all you guys watching on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and X, and they're the same things. So it's all a beautiful thing.
Hey, your show is also posted every day on Threads.
Is it really? We're on Threads?
I am. So I post it every day on Threads when I blast it out everywhere. So follow me on Threads at IndyCar Tim, and you'll get the JP Show on Threads.
Never been to Threads, not once.
I was told it was the next big thing, so I went and made an account. So I probably got more Threads followers than I do freaking X followers right now.
Yeah, what's going on X? But thank God for Elon Musk. That's all I can say.
Yes.
Wanted to get to some of the great comments here today. We have not gotten back to you guys since the beginning of the show, and a couple of you have joined us. So want to get in there. Lottie Wilkins always bringing the baseball takes. It's time for the Rays to make some trades, but they expose their untouchable prospects, and the league will hang up on them. I'm so at a loss right now with the Rays as far as what they're doing on and off the field. And I think they are too. I think the sale of that team is probably really, really close. So I don't think, and when you got that going down, I think it's kind of hard to make major moves. So I think they're going to be kind of in a holding pattern. So let's just hope the sale goes through soon and they short circuit whatever the hell's happening in St. Pete. disrespect to the St. Pete residents, but you'll be better off without a baseball stadium. Trust me. As you can see now, as you're going through the real numbers of what it's going to cost to build that thing that you don't need, that nobody's going to go to. So just let's hope we can switch midstream and get something better going. Lonnie also says you can give Jim Harbaugh to the Bears. It can't get any worse. I think the Bears and Harbaugh would be a good fit. J.J. McCarthy, that whole, do that whole thing. And I don't know. I don't know if the Bears will ever be able to find a quarterback. But listen, as much as I think Harbaugh's a wacko, and I don't think he would work in the NFL, to be quite honest, not in this day and age. It's just, it's too much. I just, with the players, I don't think he's authentic enough, and older players I don't think would buy into what he's selling. I just think it would be weird, even though obviously he had great success in the NFL and it wasn't that long ago. I don't know. It just seems that things have gotten different. And maybe I'm wrong. Mike Evans runs off the field every pass play where he goes deep. We run the ball the next play. Play calling is too predictable. Watch the all 22 tape. I haven't picked up on that trend, but that does sound, yeah.
If that's true, right. That is horrible. That's a horrible tell for your opponent.
Yeah, it seems it's true, though. I think every time we take a shot with Mike, it's like the next play is a running play, and it's up the middle. And that, that's what's it's weird is like Canales does all this creative stuff, and then he runs it up the middle like 4 times in a row. It's almost like Bowles is saying, run the ball up the middle, run it up the middle. It's just like, it's like banging your head against a wall. I just don't, I don't get why you do it. And there's just no tactical advantage to it.
Yeah.
Why are you running behind your poorest offensive lineman? Like, what is the scheme behind that?
Because they'll never expect it.
And they one toss sweep play. They get 7 yards and they never come back to it. They run one screen play. It goes 43 yards to a touchdown and they never come back to it. But we're going to run it up the middle 18 more times. That's why people never nitpick wins. You never if they'd have lost that game, then people would be losing their minds about the play calling. But and I know that sounds like a bit of a contradiction, but you look at the 39-37 game, the loss to the Texans. There was so much good stuff offensively in that you end up not talking about it because of the complete disaster that was the defense at the end of the game. And that's not the way you should look at games. My opinion. Anyway. TJC22, good to see you back, my friend. Your best decision is to play the season out, get Cap healthy again, re-sign Evans and Baker, draft the quarterback 2nd through 4th round you like, let him develop behind Baker for a year. That doesn't sound like a bad idea because that 2nd to 4th round quarterback could be Jaden Daniels, for God's sake. So I think might be the best one of the bunch. So this is perfect here for you, Tim. Urban Meyer at A&M. There is a match made in heaven.
Look, I've been asked about this on other shows numerous times, and I'll go on record here, just like I did all the other places. If Urban Meyer is the head coach of the Texas A&M Aggies at any point, I will wear a Texas Longhorns jersey for the entirety of the season.
Wow.
That will never happen. By the way, Joe Brady takes over as offensive coordinator of the Bills, the quarterback's coach.
Huh, interesting.
So there you go.
The great Joe Brady. Interesting.
He spent some time in Carolina and New Orleans, I believe, right? As an assistant.
Yeah. Where I'm trying to remember. He had some great success developing a quarterback, and I'm trying to remember where that was. LSU. That's it.
He was Burrow's position coach.
See, I remember bits and pieces sometimes, but not the whole thing. Thank you for completing that thought. I appreciate that. Zach, TJC says spend your 1st and 2nd on Zach Frazier, who is one hell of a center. Yeah, we need to upgrade at center. Ain't no doubt about that. EMJ, hello to you, my friend. Thank you very much. He wants to know where Coach Dungy is. He's at NBC, I believe.
Yeah,
and not losing any games. Yeah.
Getting spared to death by Jason Garrett.
Yeah, Harbaugh recruited very well. When he first got to Michigan, it was bad. The cupboard was bare. We recruited, and now it's paying off. I agree with that. He's recruited better recently. Ain't no doubt about that. But yeah, I still don't think he would work in the NFL. And I think maybe I was a little hard on him early on. You would say Ken Dorsey and
Wow.
Todd Bowles.
It's a hot sports opinion right there.
You'll be shocked at what quarterbacks don't get drafted in round one. Even a guy like Penix has a medical history that I can't tell you that I can tell you scares some teams. Yeah, and it should. What he's had 2 ACLs, I think. Penix. Yeah, but what a player, man! What a player! Just really.
Yeah, I think the need for a great quarterback will outweigh his medical history for somebody.
Yeah.
He'll get taken high, I think.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah, and I think as far as Harbaugh and Michigan goes, and at first I was like they should vacate wins, but I'm like, yeah, that's such a bad thing for the players. The players don't deserve any of this. The players, and they work their ass off, and they deserve where they're at. And I think Michigan has it all in front of them. They've got, they beat Penn State. Good for them. I think you're going to have to show a little bit more of a varied offense, even if you don't have to. The post-game crying session by the coach, Sharon Williams, I don't know what the hell that was all about.
Jesus.
Yeah, where is this coming from, man? Like, what are we doing here? Yeah, but the players deserve a shot to win a national championship, to do what they got to do. If they beat Ohio State, and whoever the patsy is in the championship game, good, then send them to the playoff. It's all good. We'll see if they're good enough. And I also was listening to some of the pundits talk about Florida State's resume, and I understand that it's probably it's not going to have a top 5 win on there. May not even have a top 10 win on there, although Louisville will probably be in the top 10. But the way FSU has finished games, the way they schedule non-conference, that's one of the things about Michigan that bothers me is you haven't played anybody, man. If Michigan had a win over LSU and another SEC team, which is what FSU will have, then you've got something to look at. But you don't. You got a bunch of terrible Big Ten teams. You beat Penn State against a coach who has no idea how to coach in big games in James Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
So how good is Penn State? Their quarterback is, I know he's a 5-star, but he's awful. He can't, he's not ready yet. He's not good enough to play it at a high level in college football. So I don't know how good the Penn State win is. We got to see, and look around. ACC non-conference wins have been pretty good. So everybody wants to dump on the ACC. Well, maybe it's because they're kind of beating up on each other. And I'm not saying there's great teams in the ACC, but North Carolina can play. There's Duke can play with some other teams. Elko's done a great job there. Clemson's, got a great freaking defense. I think Miami beat Texas A&M, who's won some games in the SEC, right? I mean,
just not on the road.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's let's not just go crazy on how bad the ACC is. Is the SEC that great? They get ranked because they're in the SEC, but when they go out of conference, are they destroying people? No, not really. So let's calm down here. If FSU, I've literally heard people say if FSU wins out, they may not make the playoff. Are you out of your mind?
There's no way that happens.
Yeah. I've heard some people say that, like, well, they don't have a top. Like, look at these teams. You don't think FSU could beat Penn State? Come on, come on. Seriously,
that'd be a fun one to watch too, man. I'd take Florida State. By the way, Rick Neuheisel apparently just postulated on Saturday Down South, that fine SEC website, that Dabo Swinney should be the next head coach of the Aggies, which will never happen because he doesn't know how to use a transfer portal, and that's how they literally build their team.
Yeah, that seems a little.
Nobody wants Dabo Swinney as a head coach right now except Clemson.
What about Urban?
No.
I know you don't want him.
No,
but,
nobody wants him.
It's a match made in heaven.
He's a train wreck of a human being.
Well, A&M.
That's a train wreck of a program. So you know what? Maybe you're right. I might come around.
No, you've got boosters that will literally do anything to win, break any rule, do anything they have to do, and you got a coach that feels the same way. You talk about espionage. They'd be stealing signals. They'd be stealing play. They'd be doing all kinds. It'd be a complete,
Urban Meyer at Texas A&M would make Jim Harbaugh look like a Boy Scout.
Yes, exactly. And they would give him every opportunity to do whatever he wanted to do. That's why Jimbo went there. He's like, they keep telling me no for things like, unlimited budgets for football here at FSU. I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm going somewhere where they won't tell me no for anything.
They didn't.
No, he got everything he wanted, but
train wreck.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out. All right, a little bit on the Lightning. Vasi was back at practice. He's on the ice, taking shots. He's a couple weeks away. Boy, 2 flat games back to back by the Lightning. They just got absolutely destroyed. Their last 5 periods have been like Texas A&M football. I mean, it has been ugly, and I don't, you can't sit there and say that's Vasilevsky related. The goaltending hasn't been that bad, but maybe as some people I talked to this weekend said, it's just different. Like when he's your best player, and when he's not out there, you just don't feel whole, and you don't feel like, there's going to be games when you're flat that Vasi's going to keep you in those games and you might win them. And that's true. I don't know if freaking Patrick Waugh would have helped them win against Carolina the other night. They never had the puck, and that's not on the goalie. You got to get some puck possession, but they were without Kucherov and Vasilevsky, so
right.
You're without your 2 best players, and they were just lost. So they're at St. Louis tonight. We'll see. Hopefully Kucher will be back because that was just an illness, and then they got the Blackhawks on Thursday, a team that came in here and beat them last Thursday. So they've got to, suddenly they've got to munch some points and get back to where they need to be. And hopefully Vasi comes back in the next couple of weeks and they can get rolling a little bit.
Yeah, I think the casual fan doesn't appreciate really sports fan, but especially this is true in hockey, that when you've got one of your top guys out, especially somebody like Vasi that's really the heart and soul of that roster. When you're not just missing his talent, you're missing his presence in the locker room, pregame, intermissions. You're missing him as a whole, and it affects the team more than just missing his talent on the ice.
Yeah. And I think this team is still going through transition with new players coming in. So it's kind of been a convergence of a lot of different stuff that's made them look mediocre at times. So it's a long season. I'm not pushing the panic button just yet. I forgot to do this. We have the Harbaugh audio.
Yeah.
Of the is this the America's team quote?
It is. It's a video. God. It's about 40 seconds here. So you ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay.
The perseverance, and then the stalwartness of these guys. I mean, watching, I would have to say, everybody. It's got to be America's team. It's got to be America's team. America loves a team that beats the odds, beats the adversity, overcomes what the naysayers and critics, so-called experts think. That's my favorite kind of team. And watching it from that view on the television, it was finally people get to see what I see every day, in these players and these coaches.
Okay, first of all, Coach, you created that adversity and those odds against you. That was on you. All right. First of all. Second of all, did you like how he threw in I watched it on TV? He had to throw that. Like, there's no possible way that he watched it on TV. He was in the stadium. He was there. Everybody knows it. That's how it works.
What's funny about it is I'm thinking America's team. That's the Cowboy. Then it was like America's team. He's right. He's right on this, Tim. It's America's team. Elitist organization, Michigan football. They are the elites of, at least that's what they think of themselves, right?
Right.
The elites of the elites don't give a crap about the rules because they don't apply to them, right? No, it's rules for everybody else, not us. We can do whatever the hell they want, right? And then you play the victim card. So, they're America's team. They cheat. They're the elites. They cheat, and then they claim to be victims. So, I think he nailed it. They are America. That is what America is all about right now. So,
and as far as a suspended coach not being involved with the game day operations of his team, let me tell you a little story about a buddy of mine who I think I showed a picture of me and him together here recently on this show, who coached in the NFC South, whose team was punished for what was quoted as bounty gate. And his defensive coordinator was suspended, and he's been blackballed ever since. Anyway, I met up with this coach for some drinks, and it was the year he was suspended from his team. And I asked him, Coach, how involved are you going to be this year? He's like, do you watch NASCAR? I was like, yeah, sometimes, sure, I enjoy it as much as the next guy. He goes, when crew chiefs are suspended, you know what they do? No, Coach, what do? They sit in the parking lot in an RV with the headset on, and they're calling the race from the parking lot. He goes, there is not one chance in hell I'm not going to be involved with my football team this year while I'm under suspension.
That's so funny. That is absolutely, yeah. And he's probably Harbaugh on the headset in the stadium.
Sure. There's no question he's not.
Yeah, I agree 100%. All right, let's take our last break. TJ Reeves going to join us for the big finish. So quick break here. Bucs sideline guy TJ Reeves coming up next. We'll get his thoughts on what he saw on Sunday at Raymond James Stadium and what's ahead for the Buccaneers. We're brought to you by The Patio, best happy hour in South Tampa. Head on over from 3 to 7:30, $1 off all beer and wine. They're already low prices. Great outdoor under the stars, under the palm trees. Go check it out. 421 South McDill. It is The Patio. Back in 3. Stay with us. Hey, the holidays are almost here, so take advantage of our layaway offer at the Gold and Diamond Source. Reserve your favorite piece now and pay in easy installments, making your holiday shopping stress-free. And engagement season is here as well, and we've got the largest selection of engagement rings, so visit us to find that perfect ring for that special moment. Looking for financing options? How big a ring can you get when we give you 3 to 5 years interest-free financing to make your dream jewelry more affordable? So this November, make sure you choose the Gold and Diamond Source for jewelry that's always stylish and unique, because your special someone deserves something to be thankful for, right? Find the perfect gift at the Gold and Diamond Source. Don't settle for factory-made imitations, folks. Make sure it's a Gold and Diamond Source diamond for a truly special piece of jewelry. It's the best folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source, 4800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some
good work she did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. All right. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the big show here. Our cavalcade of guests continues here.
60 years, Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, now we're back. It's a fun day. Yeah, it's a fun day so far. Anthony back, the Matty Matera. Now we'll finish it off with the great Bucs sideline guy, TJ Reeves, who joins us here. What's up, TJ? How you doing, brother?
Hey, I heard both rejoins, and you were tremendous on both. Sorry, I was a little tardy getting in here to all of this.
No.
I did catch some of you with Anthony Beck, and let me just say, right out of the chute, I am so thrilled for that whole family, and I know you know them very well as well. I worked a bunch with Anthony. Anthony worked his butt off post-playing career, being a broadcaster, and now I think he loves being dad to Rocco and enjoying the games just as much. You could really tell in that interview how much it meant for Rocco to call him and say, hey, can you come up early so we can go have dinner and hang out? What a cool thing if your parents to hear that your kids actually want to do something with you when they get older and they become teenagers and have all these different options. So that was really great stuff. Really great stuff. All right. And so two more quick things, and then I know you want to get into the Buccaneers. You have got to uphold the honor of the US of A, because yesterday I could not do that head-to-head with our friend Paul Stewart of BuckPower.com. England has defeated the United States in the mini version of the Ryder Cup in match number 1. However, my game is nowhere near the Mighty Ones game, JP Peterson. So on Thursday, you've got to bring it some, because I can tell you right now, he is fairways and greens. He is fairways and greens, and he is not going to deviate very much. So you got to bring it on Thursday.
Well, the only thing I can count on is my home course advantage, because my game is in the crapper right now.
You're in disarray as well.
Oh, it's bad.
Right
it is. I played a little yesterday in a charity event, and it was, of course, I had to drive 2.5 hours to play. It was only supposed to be an hour and a half drive. And jump out of the car late, no balls to hit. By the back nine, I may have found the club face, but it's bad. It's bad. So I don't know, man.
I did not hit it poorly, but he's very solid. So just be ready for that on Thursday. And again, Paul is having a tremendous time. He's the unofficial historian of the team, BuckPower.com. Who knew we had to bring that guy over from the Atlantic 4,000 miles away to get a win?
Yeah, well, I guess that's what it takes.
Yes, go.
We'll have to capture him and keep him here for the rest of the season, which I'm sure he wouldn't mind, by the way, because he's having a hell of a time. All right, but enough about him. Let me give me a sense of what it was like to watch a Bucs victory from the sideline, because it's been, few and far between at home. Yeah, especially at home. But
hadn't won a game since week 2 against Chicago at home.
Yeah,
it had been a while with the losses. They did win since then by beating New Orleans. And I heard what you said with Anthony, and I know what you said on your monologue. And I don't think you're wrong that when players have to speak up and say to the coaches, let's get this done, it's not normally a great thing, but maybe it's something for the back half of this season that can improve.
Yeah.
I've often said this, and I'm gonna play your song here on this one. We'll go back to your youth, my earlier youth. You're a little older than me slightly, but Don Shula had a certain way that he played in Miami, and that was defense and running the ball in the 1970s. Now I know we're talking all the way over the head of the Gen Zers and the 30-year-olds because they think the NFL started in 1998, but the NFL actually started long before that. So Shula was run the ball, play defense, low scoring, don't throw the ball. And what did he have to evolve to? Because players and the games changed and players came to him. And Dan Marino and electric 500-yard pass games and 45 points scored. The best coaches are the ones that can adapt and adjust. And we've talked about this before on your show. And so if the players had to be the ones to say, let's get out of the zone and be more aggressive, I don't care how it happened. I just care that it did happen. And they were more aggressive, and we saw the results. Yes, it was a rookie quarterback that you were playing at home, but you sat back and let the rookie quarterback barbecue you in Houston last week. So we'll take the improvement. That's the only thing I would say in response to that.
Yeah, and, to me, it's just like, why does it take so long? I mean, this dumbasses in the media could see this. The players could see
because coaches in general are stubborn.
Yes.
They believe their plan. They believe their scheme. They believe in what they've been taught for 20 or 30 years as an assistant before they've been a head coach. It's going to work. We're going to keep going over it. We're going to keep drilling it in a meeting room and on the practice field, and we'll see it on Sunday. And after a while, somebody has to speak up. And I thought Dave Moore was bringing this up, and a couple of other people were bringing it up, that the coaches that last the longest are the ones that are willing to take the advice of players. Tom Coughlin is a great example of this. Tiki Barber was doing the game on TV Sunday on CBS. And Tiki was with those teams, with the New York Giants, with Michael Strahan and with all of those guys. And Coughlin was driving those guys absolutely crazy with all the militant stuff, all the military-esque stuff, all the demands on them. And the players, the veteran players, went to him and said, you have got to lighten up like 5% or maybe 15%. We are paid multimillionaire professionals, and we know what the job and what the assignment is. This is not high school.
Right.
This is not new recruits in the military.
Something Greg Schiano never learned.
Yes. When he lightened up, it helped. It helped them come together. So I don't know what the future is going to hold. It was one game. This is a very tough team this week. But I got a feeling this bodes well for the back half of the season, the mentality. And I like a couple of things. I like the fact that San Francisco wiped out Jacksonville last week. Everybody's going, oh my God, they blew the Jaguars out, and they did. They blew them out. They wiped them out.
Maybe they'll exhale.
I think maybe they will be a little overconfident because they destroyed this team with Tom Brady a year ago. How can you not look at the Buccaneers situation without Brady, with the recent struggles? You blew them out at home last year. You're rolling yourself after a win last week, and not just human nature react a little bit and relax a little bit to that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you catch the 49ers off their game, you hang in, you get a turnover or two, you hang in. Let's see how the Bucs play this week in San Francisco. Let's see if it's not better. And there is some pride in that room. The likes of Levante David and Shaq Barrett and Mike Evans and those guys, Tristan Wirfs, Chris Godwin, go down the list. They know what happened to them last year against the 49ers. And so there will be some things said probably this week about, let's go demonstrate that maybe we are a better team right now and we can make a stretch run here and try to get in the postseason.
Yeah, and there's been a narrative, and I think it's a correct narrative, because this is what they put on tape. I'm not criticizing the players as much as just being observant. Against physical teams, they have not measured up. And this is probably the most physical team in football for my money, them and the Eagles. So you got to, this has been a narrative that you guys are soft. So go out and prove otherwise. That's how you get rid of it. Not by yelling at me. Go out and put it on tape.
Right. And the other thing is, I know Tennessee had some injuries on the offensive line on both sides of the ball. Everybody does.
Significant.
But they could not run the ball. Did you get the stat out there that was the fewest yards from scrimmage for King Henry since 2017? Hello. In 6 seasons, he had 27 yards on
probably his worst game as a pro. Probably
and a lot of that was called Buccaneer front seven came to play. I know it's some backup offensive linemen. I don't know what Christian McCaffrey's going to do to this team. I know this. I'm going to go out of my mind if I see him come out of the backfield and nobody go with him down the field. You got to believe this week they're drilling into them. You see 22, when 22 comes out of the backfield, somebody is with him. Yeah. Maybe even two somebodies.
Hopefully not 45. 45 just needs to rush the quarterback nonstop.
45 rushes the quarterback, 54, 31 the safety, 30 if it's D. Delaney. If you see 22,
either one of those guys,
get on him because the ball is likely going to McCaffrey. So let's see how that part plays out. One interesting tidbit, and this is just different coaching staffs, etc. The Bucs not going out to the West Coast until Saturday in this instance, not going on Friday the day early. We're going out there on Saturday. Let's see if that makes a difference. I know Coach Todd Bowles is really big into the routine of get out there and be in the same routine on your meeting time, on the bed check, the player freedom time. Keep it the same way. So that's just an interesting deviation. Hey, you were out there on Friday last year and you got blown away.
It worked so well, yeah.
So, by the way, the Colts and the Patriots, I believe, both spent the whole week in England, and that game was in Germany, excuse me. That game was unwatchable. They were there for the whole week, and the game was unwatchable.
Oh, so maybe got a lot of that German beer, I think, is what
maybe they did. So we'll see if that makes a difference on the West Coast or not for the team this week.
Or maybe he got a scouting report about the city of San Francisco and said, we don't need to spend 40
an extra 24 to 30
There's
hours.
nothing to do in San Francisco.
Yeah. Well, in this case,
you can walk around and step in.
We clarify again that where we stay in San Jose, and Santa Clara is 40 miles from downtown San Francisco to the south.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay,
South
good.
Bay.
Yeah.
So you're away from it. So I'm here for some optimism. As Anthony Beck said, you look at this schedule. After San Francisco, some very winnable games. I keep preaching on FanStream JP and the JP Peterson show. Get me to like a 6th or a 7th win when that stretch begins with Jacksonville at home at the end of the year, New Orleans at home on New Year's Eve Sunday, and then you finish at Carolina. If you can get to a 7th or an 8th win in and around that time, you've got a great chance to be the NFC South champs.
You've got Carolina twice still, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So there's 2 wins for you right
You
there.
would think.
And Jameis is Jameis now the quarterback in New Orleans?
It's looking like it will be
Concussion
him in the short term.
right?
It's because Carr's shoulders messed up and the concussion. If it's Jameis in the short term, who knows if he's still the quarterback in late December, if that's the case. But you've got a winnable game at Indianapolis. You play Atlanta in a revenge game at Atlanta. That's winnable. Cold in Green Bay. There are opportunities to get to a 7th or 8th win late in the year. You got to get the next one. I don't know if you can get the next one in San Francisco, brother. We'll see.
It's going to be
while
tough.
you line up and play. We'll see.
It's going to be tough. All right, my friend. Thank you for jumping on after your busy day. Really appreciate that. And I will have zero chance of defeating Paul Stewart.
Don't say zero chance.
Unless I get 6 aside. I'm like,
I was playing match play. I was still in the match with 6 holes to go.
How many did you get?
I ended up, I had the only birdie of the day on the front 9, and Mr. Great Britain about fell over when I rolled it in from about 12 feet. So I impressed myself with that one. I hung in the match. I expect bigger things from you. I know your game.
All right.
Done.
I'll see if I can find some.
You need to get Johnny Gerber to come out and be a ringer for you.
Yes, that's what I need.
Yeah,
need something. Show up with a JP mask on.
I love it.
That guy.
You boys be well.
Thanks,
and we'll see what the Bucs do out in on the West Coast, and I'll be with you next week.
Have a good trip. Stay out of San Francisco.
See you, boys.
Yeah. Yes. All right. That'll do it for us here today. Our thanks to all our wonderful sponsors, including the Gordon Geddes Group. In fact, I played with Jane yesterday, Jane Geddes, and she looked at me at one point and goes, "Dude, you're all over the place. Like your feet are messed up, your hands are throwing. It's like she's very honest. So I love about Jade is like she won't sugarcoat it. She's not one of those people where you hit a bad shot and they're like, "Oh yeah, that was pretty good." She's like, "Oh my God, that's awful. That's all. You're awful." I'm like, I am. I'm just awful right now. But finally, at the second half, I got a little rhythm going, started to hit some decent shots. It's just, it's golf is so much like about your state of being. Like you jump out of a car after 2.5 hours on I-4, where it's bumper to bumper traffic the whole freaking way. And I'm like, that just drives me. My head's about to explode and just even jump. I literally almost missed the golf ball the first 3 times. I just, it's so bad. So it'll hopefully be better on Thursday, but
that's funny.
All right, Timmy, good stuff, man. Thank you for producing the show today. Always thank you for your great input on Texas A&M football. Good luck with Urban Meyer. That should be fun.
Kill me now. Just kill me now.
It's a match made in heaven. Our thanks to TJ Reeves, Matt Matera, who joined us, and Anthony Beck. Really fun conversation. Really enjoyed chatting with him about the Bucs and his son Rocco, and Iowa State football is really, really cool. If you're a dad, man, you know that's like a dream come true. It's good stuff. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Go Bolts tonight as they are in St. Louis. Hopefully they can get back on the winning track. And Scott Reynolds will join us tomorrow, and we'll talk more Buccaneers with them then. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.